welcome back, wrestling fans. Another episode of G.W.R. Gonzo'S Wrestling Room. I'm Chris Gonzalez. Have Tony Gonzalez with me. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right, we'll jump into the weekly shows, and then we'll get to do the tag team stuff after that.
Okay. Start off with Monday Night Raw. Uh, Things that stood out to me: Owens and Rollins was the first match. They beat Otis and Gable. It was a real good match. So that's going to set up this week a title match on Monday Night Raw between Owens and Rollins and Otis and Gable and RK Bro. Uh, that was a real good match though. Finn Balor was one of the other big things. He won the United States title over Damian Priest. After the match, Priest turned bad. I think that's going to set up some kind of feud, probably going into WrestleMania. AJ accepted Edge's challenge for WrestleMania, and then Edge turned bad and pretty much destroyed AJ Styles. Did a concerto. Raw was a real good show. It was a solid show. Next was NXT. NXT, I thought had, as far as wrestling goes, had three of their better matches this week. Had Ciampa and Braun Breaker, and they beat Ziggler and Rude. That was a real good match. LA Knight did an interview segment with Grayson Waller. I thought it was really good. LA Knight's really over with the NXT crowd. Uh, Solo Sikoa finally lost his first match in NXT, taking on Gunther. It was an outstanding match. Thought both looked really good. I think Sikoa is going to be a big star. I'm ready for Gunther to go up to the next level. I think he's ready to be up on SmackDown or another real good performance was Carmelo Hayes and Pete Dunne. He beat Pete Dunne. Great match. Hayes is as good as anybody. I know Breaker. Everybody's talking about Breaker. I think he's fantastic, and I think he'll be a huge star. I think Carmelo Hayes. I think he could be. He's kind of got that. I think he's getting a lot of tutelage from Shawn Michaels. But I think he's going to be really good, and it was a really good show. Next, moving up, big stories of uh, I mean, some people respond under contract. I don't know how it is. Again, it depends on you compared to be buying WCW for uh, 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 the Punk and
You hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what keeps happening.
Okay, want me to keep going?
Yeah,
Okay, well, in true MGF fashion, he kicked CM Punk in the balls and proceeded to destroy him. Uh, uh, they basically put the dog collar on him and hung him from the ropes and bloodied him up. I thought it was a real strong segment. It was a pretty good show. Also, the Young Bucks won the Battle Royal to go to Revolution in a three-way tag match for the championship. So that was the main thing that happened on AEW Dynamite. I thought it was a good show. I thought the best thing on the show was the MJF and the CM Punk thing. I think it's going to be a huge Stills beat Chelsea Green in a match. I thought it was a pretty strong match. Match out to me. Next, I got to see Friday Night SmackDown this week. Got to review it. There was some really good things on this show. Roman Reigns cut one hell of a promo. To me, right now, I mean, MJF's probably as good as anybody on the mic, but I don't think his popularity is where Roman Reigns is right now. Reigns is the man right now, I think. Ricochet won the Intercontinental Championship from Sami Zayn. I thought that was real good. See where they go with that. Zayn's going to move on to a feud with the guy from Jackass. Escapes my name right now, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Ricochet and WrestleMania. The Viking Raiders had a great match with the Usos. The Usos did kept the championship, but it was a really, really good match. One of the better matches that I've seen this week. Ronda Rousey, Sonya Deville had a pretty good match. During the match, Flair came out, was on commentary, and said that she's never been tapped out, and Rousey's just a one-hit wonder with the armbar. Well, she gets in the ring with her and goes for the armbar. Flair blocks it, and Rousey does kind of a roll through and hits an ankle lock, and she starts. Of course, it wasn't a match, but she starts tapping out. I thought it was a real strong segment. It was a really good show. One of the things I want to bring up that could be big for WrestleMania tonight, Brock wins his title at MS. Nobody knows who he's going to defend it against. And there's a lot of rumors that something's going to happen on the show that's going to tie into WrestleMania. So that could be interesting. I know it's not being televised anywhere either. So it should be interesting to see what's going on with that. The last show that I got to see was Rampage. Had a real strong match. Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin and Andrade. It was a really, really good match. Three-way match. Guevara won the match, retains the TNT Championship. Keith Lee was on, beat JD Drake. I don't like how they're booking him. I thought Drake got way too much offense on Keith Lee. Keith Lee looked stronger after the match when some people attacked him, but I don't like the way they're booking Lee. We'll see where it goes from there. Ethan Page and Christian Cage had a match to see who would qualify for a ladder match for this weekend to be a number one contender for the TNT title. Christian Cage won that. I think that's the first match Christian Cage has had on TBS or TNT since like October. So
yeah, they're booking TNT. AEW's booking just don't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
I
sometimes.
think they're getting too many guys.
Yeah, and they're signing more. Speaking of that, I don't know if he signed, but he showed up last night. House of Black came to the ring and thought they was going to attack Pac and Penta. Well, out of nowhere, here comes Eric the Redbeard, who used to be in WWE. So I don't know if he signed with him or not, but it was a good show. The first 30 minutes of the show, I thought it was going to be maybe my show of the week. And then the other 30 minutes of it just kind of dropped off for me. Just didn't really do it for me. So for me, my show of the week this week was SmackDown. It was what I liked the best. But it was a pretty good week for wrestling. And did you want to go ahead and go over the pay-per-view for Sunday for AEW?
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Okay. And then I know we might want to talk a little bit about the big interview that was this week with Vince McMahon. But anyway, this Sunday, here's the matches. The main event, from what I understand, is going to be Hangman Adam Page and Adam Cole. I think that could be interesting. I would think Page is going to win. I don't think they'll take the belt off of him yet. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa is going to wrestle. They've had matches before. They were in the ring in a tag team match this past Wednesday, and I thought it just didn't click. But I think they'll have a good match. And next is Jurassic Express putting up the titles against Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a typical lot of spots type match. I'm sure it'll be good though. Jade Cargill against Tay Conte. I'm not sold on Cargill. I think she could be a future star, but I think they're pushing it way too fast with her, in my opinion. The next two matches are the two that I'm excited about. I think will be matches of the show. John Moxley and Bryan Danielson, I think could be a match of the night. But then also CM Punk and MJF in a dog collar match. I think this is going to be a bloody brawl. I
Yeah.
mean, both of these guys studied history. They know what the type match, dog collar matches should be. The main one being Greg the Hammer Valentine and Roddy Piper had one. I think they'll go down that road, and I'm expecting huge things from that match. Chris Jericho and Kingston has me interested. We'll see what happens there. They have the Face of the Revolution ladder match featuring Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Wardlow, and Christian Cage. So, and I don't know if there's going to be an add-in on that or not. I'm not sure on that. That should be an interesting match. And then I know they have Andrade, uh, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy in a six-man tag against Sammy Guevara and Sting and Darby Allin. I think we're going to see maybe a turn with Darby Allin. When he wrestled this Friday and he lost, he was upset, and Guevara tried to talk to him. So I don't know where they're going with that. So that could be something to look out for. I don't know where they go. I mean, do you have CM Punk beat MJF? I mean,
I think Punk is going to beat him this time to set up another match. I don't think they're done with that feud yet.
One thing they have booked this match to make it a big feud, make it worthy of a dog collar match. I mean, that's the way you want to build a feud, a blood feud like that. That's something they didn't do with Adam Page when he wrestled that match into the first match they had was a Texas Death Match. Didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
When they had a few weeks ago. So I've liked the booking for that. I've liked the booking they've done with Moxley and Danielson and teasing possibly them teaming up too, maybe down the road. So I think this could be a real good pay-per-view. There's a couple matches I'm not real excited about, but there's 4 or 5 that I'm really excited about.
I wasn't real excited that they put the Young Bucks in that tag team match, but I'm not a real big Young Bucks fan. Can you hear me?
Looks like you got a team like FTR. Yeah, you got a team like FTR, one of the best tag teams in the world, and it seems like on the sidelines all the time. It don't make sense to me, but I mean, so well, I think it's going to be it should be AEW's pay-per-view of the year. So we'll see how that turns out. And next, did you want to talk about the interview that happened this past Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you think? I know you got to see it.
For people that don't know, we're talking about the Vince McMahon on Pat McAfee on Thursday. I thought it was a great interview, and I know it won't, but if people would just watch it and kind of throw their biases out that it's Vince McMahon, they already hate Vince McMahon. I thought that interview actually showed him almost more as a human than about any other interview that you've seen him do. It was, it was a different kind of interview. It showed more of a relatable side to Vince McMahon than what you usually get to see.
And you say that, and I have to admit, because I look at a lot of stuff on the internet, and there's some people that's never going to, no matter what Vince did. Vince could save 1,000 people out of a burning building, and he'd still be a piece of shit. But I did see a lot of people look at him in a different light. As a businessman and as a seeing a little bit of softer side, and so I think it was a good interview. And one thing that came out, out of it. It's been, that he's definitely going to induct the Undertaker into the Hall of Fame. He said it was going to be a tough thing for him to do because I think he's, Undertaker's been with him, since 1990, stuck with him thick and thin, never even thought about going anywhere else. I mean,
he said he never had one conversation with Undertaker about him leaving for WCW.
Yep.
And he never spoke a word, anything about any of that during that time.
Anytime that Vince has ever needed anything from the Undertaker, it pretty much didn't have to be asked. It would be done. So,
and Vince also said in that, he goes, I could talk for a long time just about the character. He goes, that's not even getting to the human.
Yeah, and so it's and I got to hear this morning a little bit with Bully Ray and Mark Henry talk about it a little bit on Busted Open this morning, and Henry talked about it. He said that the relationship that himself has with Vince McMahon is fantastic. himself. And he said he knows the relationship that he has with the Undertaker is 1,000 times more than his. So he said, yeah, it will be difficult for. He said, McMahon like to get emotional, and he said they think it's very hard for McMahon not to get emotional from the start. So that's what he's talking about, because he don't like to show emotion,
Yeah.
But I thought it was a great interview. It also helped set up, definitely that McAfee's going to wrestle a match at WrestleMania, and now it's definitely going to be against. Of course, I'm forgetting his name right now.
Austin Theory.
Austin Theory. Thanks. So that's been confirmed that he showed up on SmackDown and smacked McAfee. So that's where they're going with that. And I don't mean that my man won't be involved some ways somehow. So I thought it was a great interview. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was an hour and a half, and it seemed like 30 minutes. So I thought it was a real good interview.
Well, that was something else that surprised me. I was surprised that McMahon sit there and not only did he fly there, but then to sit there for an hour and a half. I didn't think I never thought that interview would be that long.
Well, I know how busy he is. The fact that he asked him to be on the show and he said he would. He never expect for him to come to the studio. He thought they'd do it,
Yep.
Zoom or something. He never expected McMahon to fly to Indianapolis and do it. Knowing that he's got SmackDown on Friday and New York City, back in New York City on Saturday because they got the big show in Madison Square Garden. Monday Raw, so just But like Vince said this ain't work to him. It's what he loves to
Yep.
do. He's lucky if he sleeps 2 or 3 hours a day, up at 1:30 in the morning working out, doing a workout. So I thought it was a real good interview. I really enjoyed it.
Still squats 1,000 pounds at 76 years old. That's just crazy.
Yep, yeah, that is fantastic. I know a lot of people. What's your feelings? I don't know if you've seen. I think they've announced like 8 matches so far, which that's like 4 matches a night. And I don't know if you've looked at it. I've looked at it, and there are a lot of you've got the Jake Paul thing, and you've got the one with the Jackass guy, and then you've got the one now with McAfee. But I think when you're doing a 2-night event and you're going to have 6, 7, 8 matches on each show, I don't think there's anything wrong with having that kind of thing. Plus, it draws
And like with
different eyes to
McAfee,
the.
and like with McAfee, yeah, he's a star outside of the WWE with his show and stuff, but he's also proven that he can go in the ring. So him and Theory isn't. I don't. It's not like that to me. Is really a gimmick match. That's more of a. I mean,
Yeah,
both them guys can go in the ring. I expect that to be a good match.
but the important thing is too that's going to still bring, like, it's a business. You want to bring that can help bring different eyes to the product. People that are just McAfee fans may watch that because McAfee's going to be on it. People that are Jake Paul's got 25 million
Or
on
Logan Paul.
social media. Logan Paul, I said the wrong one. Yeah, Logan Paul. So they could tune in. More people going to tune in from that. Jackass. That dude's been around forever. The guy on Jackass. So that they will tune in to that. So I mean, it's smart. It's smart. And I would understand if you only had 6 matches on the card and 3 of them was this. But when you're doing a 2-night event, trying to sell 200,000 seats, 100,000 each night. And then some people, maybe they won't sell 100,000. Maybe they only sell 80,000 each night. And some people will say that's not a success. Bullshit. Who else can do that?
Yeah. Oh, there's nobody else.
So I mean, yeah, I think I like what they're doing. I think there's definitely going to be a lot more matches, and Vince will try to put things together where everybody in the company just about will be on the show and get a payday. That's one thing they've always said. Mark Henry and Bullock said that he tries to get everybody in on WrestleMania so they can get that payday. So I'm excited about WrestleMania. I'm excited about the show that's coming up this Sunday night, the AEW pay-per-view. So did we want to talk before the tag team? Do we want to talk a little bit about independent wrestling?
Yeah.
Okay. I know we've got a show this Sunday in Greenfield, Summit Pro Wrestling. I know doors, I believe, open at 3.
Yep.
Wrestling starts at 4. I forget the price of the tickets. I think it's just $10 if I remember right.
I'm pretty sure it's $10. You can find
$10. And I've seen the card, and I know the last show that we went to of theirs. was one of the better shows that we've been to, period, in independent wrestling. Uh, Shelbyville's not that far. If you're in the immediate area, if you're in 50-mile radius, get there an hour or so. Uh, I recommend you go. They deserve to have a big crowd because they put on one heck of a wrestling show. Great entertainment, 2.5 hours of entertainment. The camps run a real good program there. The one show that we've been to, we really enjoyed and had a great time, and I expect no different this one.
Oh no, I expect it to be a good show tomorrow. But if you watch us tomorrow morning, we will be broadcasting live from there as well. So you'll be able to find that on our YouTube and Twitch channels at Gonzo Sports Room. If you would like to, if you can't get there and would like to watch it, it should be a great show. Their first show we went to was real good.
Yep.
We got a lot of good independent shows coming up. Weekend after that, we'll be in Fortville at the Wrestling Theology.
Yep. And that's
And
only
you keep side matches of that card. It looks like it's going to be another good card.
It's going to be a great card, and it's only what from where we live in Muncie, it's only about 40 minutes away. So I mean, it's another place that's not real far for most people that's going to be watching these broadcasts, just like the Greenfield show. So that's another one I recommend. I think it's a 5 o'clock show on a Saturday. You can go there, spend 3 hours, and still have your whole night ahead of you. So that's another really great show. And tickets are not real expensive for that either. Maybe 10, 12, $15. You can get on their website or Facebook page, Wrestling Theology. But another real great show.
And then we after that we go to Shelbyville, back to the New Era.
Yep.
We didn't do their last show because it was the same time as DCCW here in town. But we done the show before that, and it was a fun time. Real good people down there, and real good show too. And Shelbyville, a little over an hour, so it's not like it's a bad drive at all.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to that show because I was ill, but I watched it, and I expect to be a great show. It was a real good show that I watched that you guys did, and I mean the independent wrestling scene around here is outstanding, and Shelbyville is going to be a great show there at the Boys Club there, Boys and Girls Club there, and Shelbyville. So yeah, I hope the fans will check out some of these shows. That they deserve. These promotions deserve the support because they put on really outstanding wrestling shows.
Well, then after that, we'll go back to Warrior Pro where we was at last weekend, which I want to talk about. It was a good show.
Yep.
Especially the last half of the show. It got real good with it, with some of the stuff they had going on and some of the talent that was on there. But I enjoyed it. Looking forward to going back there this month, which this month should be even. Actually, I'm expecting it to probably be even a little better than what the last show was.
From what I've seen announced so far, I think it'll quite possibly will be a stronger show. I thought it was a real good show. I agree with you. The second half of that show was about as good as anything we've seen. It was really good. That second half was.
Kripke and Hadley put on a show against each other, and then Dutch Boy and Carter put on a show against each other, and then the way that match ended with, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're putting a group together because the black market, and got some some of the best young talent in independent wrestling here around Indiana in the area. Blake Money Wright, Dutch Boy Platinum, Logan Myers. There's three of them, and also JB
and DNA.
DNA. So, and who knows? There could be more. Definitely going to be a lot more to that story. So, that people like storylines. They're definitely doing some storyline stuff there. And I really enjoyed the second half of that show, especially. And so, we'll be back there on the 27th of this month. And that's another one that, Danville's a little bit further out, maybe about an hour and a half. I'm telling you, even if you live in Muncie, we went an hour and a half there, and we for front row and 12 for general mission. I recommend it strongly. People, again, you can always watch it. We broadcast it, but we really like for people to go watch it live, and support this, independent wrestling in Indiana. And Warrior Pro is definitely a real good promotion.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent here in Indiana. And speaking of some the promotions, also another one. We don't have a show scheduled here to broadcast soon, but we try to get down there when we can. Can't forget about WCWO. If you're a pro wrestling fan and you haven't went and checked out WCWO yet, You need to get down there and check it out. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the best organizations in Indiana,
Yep.
and they got some good trainers there. Got just it's a big family. Got a lot of good talent down there as well. And I know they just started another training class, so there's going to be some even new talent coming through there here before long.
And they bring some old guys back because I mean they've trained so many people, so they do a real good job of bringing in, with their young talent and some older talent. They do a really good job, and it's a I think they do an outstanding job there, especially doing every Friday. I recommend people go down there on a Friday night. Doors open at 6:30. Wrestling starts at 7:30. Go down to Indy. What we do when we go, we stop at a place called Paco's Tacos, man, and it's got outstanding food. So we get a quick bite to eat and go to the wrestling show. We have a great time. So can't say enough about JKO and Jake Oman, who's one of the trainers down there, and all the wrestlers down there. To train through there and put on the shows. They do a great job. So yeah, definitely every Friday night, and especially on the end of the month, they do their big blowout show. Like their big show for the month. Definitely check out WCWO.
And for the people around the Muncie area, there's some Muncie talent that's down there at WCWO every Friday night that you can go watch as well. I mean, you have Dalton Love, who's improving every day and starting to make a name for himself. And Luke Savage down there that's improving every day. You got both them guys down there that are Muncie talent.
Well, and then DCCW, Mike King,
Yep.
has been down there some recently with some things going on with some storylines and stuff. And, the DCCW champion, G.W.R, who also wrestles down there in WCWO all the time and been their champion quite a bit. Some things going on with that. Also, the DCCW tag team champions. They're the tag team champions. They're WCWO, the highlight reel. So, I mean, definitely, especially if you like DCCW, you see a lot of people in DCCW down at WCWO, plus other people in different storylines and stuff. So that's definitely a place to go, and it's not real far.
And not only that, you see a lot of the WCWO guys at Warrior Pro, a bunch of different organizations. You see a lot of the WCWO guys all around.
Yep. And also coming up, also we'll plug this a little bit here real quick. Also on March 19th, IPW. You mentioned Luke Savage and I always have trouble with his name.
Dalton Love.
Dalton Love. I don't know why I have trouble with Dalton's name half the time. Yeah, Dalton Love. They wrestled there at IPW. That's where they got their start. They wrestled through there. They got a show on March 19th. There at the Delaware County Fairgrounds. I believe no Luck's Given. I think if I remember correct is the name of the show.
Yeah, I think so.
So definitely go check them out. They're really good young talent. Luke and Dalton. So check out IPW. Don't forget about that. And then of course give a real shout out to DCCW. Their next show is April 16th. It's going to be the Bearcat Rumble. As far as I know, it's going to be there at their home at the Armory. They should have an announcement here in the next week or so. Yeah. What talent's going to be on the show, or some of the talent's going to be on the show. I know they're going to bring in some people. So big fundraiser for the Bearcat Wrestling Club. So people need to keep an eye on that, and you'll be hearing a lot of announcements coming in the coming weeks for that show.
That was a real big show last year, and a fun show last year. So I'm looking forward to it to even be better this time, being the second time around.
And it raised several $1,000s for the Bearcat Wrestling Club. So it was a real good fundraiser. So I hope people support it again.
Oh yeah. All right. Ready to get into the tag team stuff?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. What do you want to go with first?
Well, do you want to read some before we do ours? You want to read some of the other people's? We talked to some wrestlers and some people, independent wrestlers, and asked them their favorite top 10 tag teams of all time.
We'll start with we're going to start with super fan Marcus Fine.
All right, I've been wanting to hear this.
Because and people that are wrestling fans around the Indiana area, I'm sure you know who Marcus Fine is. You can find him about every weekend at an independent show somewhere. unless the weather's bad. That's about the only time he misses.
Yep.
Not just him and his wife. Kelly's a big wrestling fan as well.
Yeah, they're
Uh,
really big wrestling fans.
but
Great wrestling fans.
Marcus had the Road Warriors, Rock and Roll Express, the Freebirds, Crusher and Bruiser, Simply Marvelous, the Highlight Reel, Mad Max and Super Max, Demolition, Powers of Pain, Ivan and Nikita Koloff. And he said on here that the Road Warriors will always be his number one.
That's a good list, and he had a bunch of some of the wrestlers on there you're not going to know real well. I mean, I know you know who Bruiser and Crusher is, but like Super Max and Mad Max, they wrestled in that promotion WWA, which was Bruiser's and Wilbur Snyder's. Originally Wilbur Snyder and Bruiser's, and I think Bruiser ended up buying them out completely here in Indianapolis. And they were a big promotion at one time, and had everybody wrestle there. From Andre the Giant to Big John Studd, Bobby Heenan that's where Bobby Heenan got one of his starts at. So I mean, it was a big promotion. It was on every week here on TV, and so some of those names were on there. That's a good list. I knew he'd have some old school on there. So.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, we'll go ahead. We'll go with another guy that he's going to have some older guys in there as well, and then we'll get to some of the younger talent that we talked to. But Big Pete from WCWO.
Yep.
He gave us a list, and he has the Blackjacks, Ray Stevens, and Nick Bockwinkel.
Yep, that's a good one.
Dory and Terry Funk, Yukon Moose, is it Cholak?
Yep, Cholak.
And Wilbur Snyder.
Yep.
Fabulous Kangaroos. I don't think I remember who they are. Or they
were yeah, they were more 60s and 70s.
Dick the Bruiser and Crusher, the Valiant Brothers, Freebirds, Rock and Roll Express, and Midnight Express.
That's a real good list. Yeah, that's a real good list. I tell you.
You're breaking up again.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay. Now you can go. Now try it. What were you saying?
I said it was hard doing this list because after I got my 10, I really could have did 20 easy because it was tough.
Oh yeah. All right. Next one we'll go with the DCCW United States Champion Max Sterling.
All right.
He has Rock and Roll Express, the Rockers, Demolition, Steiner Brothers, Legion of Doom, Blade Runners, the Wild Samoans, Dream Team, Usos, Mega Powers, and the Nasty Boys.
Okay, do you know who the Blade Runners are?
I've heard that name, but I can't remember who. I couldn't remember.
That was originally Sting, and I believe his partner's name was, if I remember right, was Rock, and if I remember right, and that was the Ultimate Warrior. Okay. They were the Blade Runners. That's where they got their start at. Where Sting and Ultimate Warrior got their start at.
Let's see who else we got here. Cecil Cerveza, Rockers, Rock and Roll Express. You're seeing a theme. The Rock and Roll Express, I think, has been on every list that I've read so far.
Well, that and they deserve to be, but also, and yeah, Road Warriors, Legion of Doom. You figure though, because we was at that show and asked a lot of the wrestlers, so Rock and Roll Express was on that show, so it's going to be in their mind. But they deserve to be. I mean, they're really high on my list. So I mean, they're a great team.
Heart Foundation, Steiner Brothers, Legion of Doom, Midnight Express, Brainbusters, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, and the Usos. JB, Brothers of Destruction, DX, Los Guerreros, New Age Outlaws, the Hardys, the Dudleys, APA, Road Warriors, Rock and Sock Connection, and the Heart Foundation. So
That's a good.
you can see the age of some of the
Yeah,
guys when they do these lists though, because you know
yeah.
what I mean by the era that you see. But there's I mean, when you look at these lists, I mean, you really there ain't really
Well, so
there ain't like
far, I tell you, a really good tag team, and so far, I don't think we've heard yet. I don't think. You may have said it, but I don't think so. And I didn't put them on my list, and I felt bad about it. British Bulldogs. I
yep.
mean, a great tag team they were. Yeah, but I mean, there's just so many, especially people want to talk about tag team wrestling now. It don't compare to what it was in the 80s and the 90s. Especially, I mean, tag teams in the 87, 88, 89. You know, in the 80s, I think that was the best tag team wrestling.
Yeah. All right, we have Professor Wiley. Now, if you've watched WCWO or DCCW or hell, he's been at a lot of places now. Warrior Pro, we see him in a lot of places.
I always say with
He,
Coca.
yep. He has the Rockers, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express, APA, Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, Legion of Doom, the Heart Foundation, Demolition, and Brothers of Destruction. Let's see next. We'll go with Roger? We'll go with Roger Little. We know
Yep,
he's a big time wrestling fan as well,
yeah.
and and he's been doing some refereeing with
Yep,
DCCW.
referee and security. Yep.
He has the Road Warriors, Midnight Express, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the Rock and Roll Express. He says the Rock and Roll Express are the best babyface team. He actually wrote some captions on his.
Yep.
The Dudley Boys, the Harlem Heat, FTR, the Steiner Brothers, the Hart Foundation, and the Hollywood Blondes.
You remember the Hollywood Blondes?
Yes.
Yep. That's a good one.
Yep.
It was weird because Steve Austin didn't want to be in the Hollywood Blondes with Pillman. And then they got in it, and then they broke him up, and he was mad because they broke him up, you know, because they had so much fun and they were doing
Yeah.
so good. But yeah, they're a good one too.
Let's see. Logan Myers. He had the Midnight Express, the Hardy Boys, Rock and Roll Express, Arn and Ole Anderson, Dudley Boys, Freebirds, Ray Stevens and Pat Patterson, the New Day, the Fantastics, and Edge and Christian.
That's a good one. Ray Stevens and Pat Patterson were really good, just like Ray Stevens and Nick Bockwinkel was really good. So them are you know, they were AWA, and you know, because AWA went out in the early '80s, in the '80s, they get forgotten about, but they had some real great wrestling.
And then we have a tag team that's going to give us our best tag team, the highlight reel, which have been mentioned on this list a couple times already.
Yep.
Uh, highlight reels list is Rated RKO, uh, Road Warriors, SAT, Rock and Roll Express, Hardys, DX, the Usos, Rock and Sock Connection, the Dudley Boys, and the New Age Outlaws. That's a pretty good list too.
Yeah, it is.
Then we have Rachel Armstrong's, the New Day, the Steiner Brothers, the Usos, the Hardy Brothers, the Hart Foundation. She likes the brothers,
Yeah,
the Freebirds, the Highlight Reel,
yeah.
Dudley Boys, Rock and Roll Express, and the Mega Powers.
Yep. Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, some people we know question the New Day, but I mean, uh, they was
Been a
the
top tag team for a while now.
well WWE their list WWE there was no tag team on their list so of all time. So
All right. That's all the ones I have. There was one other one, but it was a video, and I haven't, be honest, I haven't got a chance to watch all of it yet. So we'll talk about it next week because we do want to talk about it.
you
Uh,
want to do your
yeah, I can do mine. On mine, I have the Road Warriors, Edge and Christian, the Rock and Roll Express, the Dudley Boys, Heart Foundation, Brothers of Destruction. Then I have one I haven't seen. I didn't hear on any of the other list. Team Hell No.
Yep.
Uh, and then Steiner Brothers, the Hardy Boys, and APA. Which,
APA is a good one. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna give mine. I'm gonna go from 10 to 1. My 10th one was the Blackjacks. One reason for that is I was remembering going to a show. I can remember my dad, and I believe it was my brother Richard went. We went to Newcastle, and I got to see the Blackjacks and Dick the Bruiser and Crusher wrestle. So I remember the Blackjacks. That's Blackjack Mulligan is Barry Windham's dad, and of course Mulligan and Lanza went in the WWE Hall of Fame. Uh, they wrestled everywhere. They all the territories. So I was a big. I really liked the Blackjacks. Number 9, I had the Steiner Brothers. 8, I had Hart Foundation. Then I went with Edge and Christian. I went with the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys. One of my favorites, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express, and the Road Warriors. The reason I went number 1 with the Road Warriors is because they held championships in AWA, NWA, WWF, all the Japan promotions. Well, people still talk about if you got a big pop, they call it the Road Warrior pop
yeah,
because how loud the crowds got for the Road Warriors. So,
yeah,
but I mean, there's no right or wrong answers. I mean, Harlem Heat, how great they didn't make my list. I heard the Valiant Brothers. You don't know a lot about you know the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Van,
yeah.
but the Valiant Brothers were outstanding in the 70s and early 80s and stuff. So, and there's a lot of tag teams. Like I said, the British Bulldog, you know,
Yeah, it was
the
hard for me to
Rougeau.
make the list because there was teams I wanted to get on there that wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I had the
Uh,
Road Warriors as my favorite, and then I had Edge and Christian at number 2, and then the Rock and Roll Express. But I could flip them because I'm a big Rock and Roll Express fan. But Edge
yeah,
and Christian, I just think uh, if they would have been able to be together longer than what they were, I
yeah.
think it would even have been better because they had good chemistry together.
I tell you, the Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, and Dudley Boys, them three together, you know, it's really hard to separate. I mean, you could take either one of them three and make them number 1. You can't argue. Same with the Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. They were so good. And the Midnight Express had 2 or 3 different versions, and
Yeah.
all of them were good. So
Well, that's another thing I think is crazy about like the Road Warriors and Rock and Roll Express. They were mainly the same guys
yeah,
the whole time.
yeah, pretty much. Road Wars had a little change towards the end, but
And like
not really.
Rock and Roll Express, hell, they're still tagging together. I mean, so,
I was mentioned. I watched that Ricky Morton match against Austin Aries today on NWA. It was a good match. wasn't real long, but it was a good match. So I watched it. I wanted to watch Ricky Morton, so but it was good.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it. I'll tell you what. I told you this the other day. There, I haven't seen many guys that can work a crowd like Ricky Morton can.
Yep.
It's from the time he walks out to the time he till the time he hits the curtain. He has that crowd going.
Well, and plus, you know, he's been in the business 40 years, and he knows where he's at in his career. You know, uh, he came out, and you know, it was all about the fans. He lost a match to Austin Aries. After the match, the first thing he was doing was taking off his stuff, you know, and giving it to the fans. It's all about the fans. So I mean, he's a great professional, you know, and you know, all we can.
And that was at an NWA show, but he acted the same exact way at an independent show just 2 weeks before that.
Very small crowd.
Yeah, we're having technical
Only
difficulties.
50
What'd you say?
better. Any
Acted
better?
like it was going to come back. It ain't came back yet.
Okay.
Now you're back.
Well, we go ahead and okay. Well, like I said, there was only about 50 people there, so it'll make no difference because they have there in Georgia that where they're filming, they have it where you still can't
Oh,
have
okay.
it. Maybe that'll start changing though. I had an idea for our next thing. Maybe give people 3 or 4 weeks and see what you think about this idea. Get people's and again, no right or wrong answer. Their all-time favorite wrestling match, uh, WWE, NWA, AWA. But then not only that, I want their all-time favorite independent match, independent pro wrestling match that they've seen. So we're asking for each. You know, what's
Okay.
your all? like for example, my favorite. I'm not saying it is, but was Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. From WrestleMania. That's my all-time favorite. Let's say that's my all-time. And then let's say my all-time favorite match in the independent is the highlight reel on a tag team. Just
Yeah.
give an example. So maybe we can start getting that from people, and maybe in here 3 or 4 weeks we'll do a show about that.
Yep. Yeah, we can do that. That sounds good.
People can hit up you on Facebook and send the stuff in, or like we go to shows and we ask wrestlers and stuff. It's interesting to get their opinion.
Yep. All right. You have anything else before we get out of here for today?
No, I don't think so.
Uh, Main thing, support independent wrestling. We told you guys about a lot of shows that are upcoming. If you need more information about them shows, you can find most of them organizations on Facebook, or you can get on our social media at Gonzo Sports Room, and we usually have about everybody's flyer posted on our social media, so you can find information that. Or if you can't find what you're looking for, contact us and we'll get you the information that you need.
Yep.
Because we're getting. I mean, we got quite a few connections now with a lot of the organizations here in Indiana, so we can find the information out for you.
Real quick, a promotion I just remembered, and I still got a little time, and we'll promote it. Real good promotion. That one of the first ones that we started with also after DCCW is AACW Kokomo.
Yep.
They got a show coming up on April 9th. Of course, we're not going to be able to make that show because we're already committed somewhere. We committed to a fundraising show in Jeffersonville, which we'll give more information about that, later. But I want to give them a shout out because they're a real great promotion. If you like old school wrestling, the old school style, that will be for you. And we went. The crowd was
I was say they have a great crowd.
one of the better crowds we've been to. The crowd's great. I think tickets $10-12. Again, put on a real good old school wrestling show. So can't recommend them enough. So I just remembered that.
And if you'd like to check AACW out, we have the show that we done there is on our YouTube page.
Yep.
Go back and check it out. It was a good show.
Yeah, real strong show. So like I said, great entertainment. But I tell you, even though I thought we did a good job being there live with the way that crowd was, and Kokomo that far, about an hour?
Yeah, about an hour from us.
And I know they're moving into a new venue. So you can check that out on type AACW in on Facebook and you'll get the information. But definitely a show I recommend, and they're real great promotion, great guys.
All right, we will see you guys next Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern, when the episodes drop on all the podcast networks and on YouTube.
Hey, when you guys hear this show Sunday morning, drive down to Greenfield. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. I guarantee it. Go down there and spend $10, and show starts at I believe if I remember right 4. Doors open at 3. Match starts at 4. You could be back home and in time to probably watch the AEW pay-per-view. So be a good Sunday night for you.
Yep.